SCP-6792. I promise I won't say I miss you. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. A Foundation monitoring facility was established at Johnson City International Airport in 1981 for the purpose of safeguarding the heavily trafficked facility from local anomalies. This facility now serves the secondary purpose of monitoring the site for instances of SCP-6792. Foundation operatives will monitor airport correspondence for any signs of anomalous phenomena. All potentially anomalous items will be confiscated by Foundation operatives. If a Foundation operative encounters SCP-6792-1, standard observation and security procedures for Euclid-class anomalies will be observed. If possible, the safe capture and containment of SCP-6792-1 will be carried out. Description: SCP-6792 is a localized phenomenon occurring on the premises of Johnson City International Airport, JCIA, in Johnson City, Ohio, United States. The anomaly was first recorded in 1993, but is believed to have been active since at least 1989. The most recent instance of SCP-6792 occurred in 2013. The most notable instance of SCP-6792 is a humanoid entity, henceforth SCP-6792-1. This entity has been encountered by several individuals over the course of a roughly 14-year timeframe. While most of these encounters have been dismissed as dreams by their witnesses, the recurrent nature of encounters with SCP-6792-1 has warranted its classification as a distinct entity. It is unknown whether SCP-6792-1 causes the SCP-6792 phenomenon as a whole, or is merely a byproduct thereof. Due to the infrequent nature of SCP-6792 instances, substantial research on this subject is lacking. Addendum I. Recorded instances of SCP-6792. 19th of January, 1993. Gary Hardy, 59, a senior custodian, resigned after 9 years of employment at JCIA, citing poor treatment by other staff members. In his letter of resignation, one of Hardy's grievances was the allegation that someone has been changing the clocks every few nights for the past 3 years, and I have to keep changing them back. He denied mechanical failure as a possible factor, mentioning that all of the clocks invariably stopped at 10:03. Foundation operatives investigated Hardy's claims and confirmed they were the results of neither mechanical failure nor human interference. Other airport employees and passengers have since reported clocks and watches stopping at 10:03 within the premises of the airport, sometimes resulting in flight delays. 8th of September, 1996. During major renovations of the airport's south wing, workers of the Miller Bryant Construction Company removed a row of seats from Terminal B8. The following morning, the seats were found in the terminal, with no evidence of their previous removal. Several more attempts were made to remove the seats, all resulting in the same phenomenon. No workers claimed responsibility for returning the seats, but construction supervisor Wayne Jackson, 45, filed a disciplinary review to his superiors regarding what he believed to be an elaborate prank perpetrated by his employees. 10th of July, 1997. Jessica Lacombe, 36, a domestic passenger from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, turned in an outdated Pioneer Airlines plane ticket to the airport's Lost and Found. Lacombe claimed to have found the ticket on the floor near Concourse B. The ticket, dated the 3rd of March 1989, was for an international departure flight to Cork, Ireland, and belonged to a passenger named John Pensacola. The ticket was later confiscated by Foundation operatives. Footnote 1. The Foundation investigated John Pensacola, the individual whose name was found on the ticket recovered by Lacombe. The same name appeared in a local police investigation dated the 29th of November 1989, in which a body had been found on the side of Route 269 with severe burn marks and numerous lacerations and blunt traumas. Police identified the body as Pensacola. The case was ruled as a murder, but authorities were unable to locate compelling evidence or identify suspects, and the investigation was suspended in January 1993. 20th of December, 1999. First recorded encounter with SCP-6792-1. See Addendum II. 29th of January, 2000. Shortly before the morning opening of the terminals, a twin-sized bed and accompanying nightstand were discovered in Concourse B by airport employees. In the drawer of the nightstand was a small postcard of the town of Colmar, France, with a handwritten note reading, "You'd love the cocoa here, Mary. Wish you were here." The objects were removed and later confiscated by Foundation operatives. 30th of October, 2003. Aniko Ishikawa, 65, an international passenger from Nagata, Japan, reported that she heard a child scream within a stall in the women's restroom on Concourse A. When Ishikawa approached the stall, the sound immediately ceased. She claimed to have found no one inside the stall. Ishikawa later complained to airport employees that the restroom was haunted and demanded financial restitution due to her fragile heart condition. While the veracity of Ishikawa's testimony was questioned, several other individuals in the area also reported hearing a scream. 23rd of March, 2006. Second recorded encounter with SCP-6792-1. See Addendum II. 21st of August, 2009. Air traffic control operator Michael Fitzgerald, 40, received a transmission allegedly originating from an incoming flight. Fitzgerald described the signal as choppy and mostly incoherent, which he believed to be due to poor weather conditions at the time. The man on the transmission claimed to be piloting Pioneer Airlines Flight 331 from Cork, Ireland, which was scheduled for arrival at 10:03 p.m. at Terminal B8. Fitzgerald informed the pilot that no flight was scheduled to arrive at the specified time and terminal. He reported that the audible condition of the transmission worsened at this point, but the pilot sounded confused and annoyed. The signal was lost moments later. A subsequent Foundation inquiry found that Flight 331 had arrived more than 20 years prior on May 4, 1989. Its pilot, Brian Powell, now retired, was contacted by the Foundation, but denied any knowledge of anomalous events surrounding the flight, including his alleged conversation with Fitzgerald. 29th of April, 2011. May Scott, 11, an international passenger from Vancouver, Canada, traveling with her mother, discovered a handwritten inscription beneath one of the seats in Terminal B3. The inscription read, "I promise I won't say I miss you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." 22nd of November, 2013. Third recorded encounter with SCP-6792-1. See Addendum II. Addendum II. Testimonies of SCP-6792-1 encounters. Encounter 1. Hughes, Monica R. Hughes, 19, a resident of Tampa, Florida, arrived at JCIA on the 20th of December 1999 for a connecting flight to Spokane, Washington to visit relatives for the holidays. She submitted the following testimony to Foundation operatives. "I had fallen asleep at the terminal while waiting for my flight to arrive. And when I woke up, or thought I woke up, there was no one else there. The whole terminal was deserted. At first, I was worried that I'd missed my flight or something, so I tried to find someone to ask about the time since my watch didn't seem to be working. But when I walked around, there was no one else in the whole building. Every other room was dark, and I was really worried that the airport had closed or something. I was kind of panicking at this point, but that was when I saw someone down one of the halls. When I tried to approach them, they ran away. I'm pretty sure it was a little girl, but it was hard to tell since it was mostly dark. I followed her through a lot of the building trying to call out to her since I thought she was lost. But then she ran off into this huge dark room at the end of the concourse, and I admittedly got too scared to follow her. I don't know how to describe it. Something just felt wrong. That was when I woke up, back in the terminal like nothing had happened. That's really all it was. Encounter 2. Sutherland. James H. Sutherland, 30, a local resident, was departing from Terminal A5 for a domestic flight to Cleveland, Ohio, on the 23rd of March 2006 for business purposes. He submitted the following testimony to Foundation operatives. I was sleeping. The flight had been delayed since it was pouring rain outside. I was already in my seat. It was crowded. There was this old guy sitting next to me with his wife. But when I fell asleep, I dreamt that the whole plane was empty. It was still raining, and instead of an old man, there was a kid next to me. She looked like she was maybe in 4th grade. I didn't really question why she was there since I figured she was just another passenger. But I didn't get why the plane was empty, and thought maybe they were moving everyone to a different flight, but nobody showed up. I tried to ask the kid where her parents were, but she didn't seem to want to talk to me. She looked really sad, and I was worried maybe she was lost, but she just wouldn't say anything to me. I'm not good with kids, so I guess I had a hard time saying anything. Eventually, she spoke up kind of quietly and said something about waiting for someone. I thought maybe it was her mom or dad, like they'd left her and promised they'd be back soon, but she wouldn't answer. Then she just started crying, really quietly, stuffing her face into her sweater. It was hard to watch. It was like I wasn't even there, like she didn't even acknowledge me. That's the last thing I remember when I woke up. I know it was a dream, but a part of me still feels guilty for not helping her find whoever she was waiting for. Encounter 3. Perez. Antonio M. Perez, 52, a Mexican immigrant and airport custodian, encountered SCP-6792-1 on the 22nd of November 2013 during nightly cleaning of Terminal B8. He submitted the following testimony to Foundation operatives. She was very small, wearing a sweater too large for her own body. I saw her at the terminal by the old chairs. She was just standing there in the dark and staring at me. Staring with accusation. Lenina was all by herself. I asked her if she was lost, but she shook her head, told me she was waiting for someone, but that he had been gone too long. I did not know who he was, but she pointed at me and said, "You killed him. You killed him. You killed him. You all killed him." Then she fell to her knees and curled up into a ball like a sad little kitten, and said that it was all her fault. She said she kept her promise, but now it was too late. She said she'd already forgotten and was sad. She said, "We were always going to end up alone," and then she was gone. Like she had never been there at all. Una niña perdida. If you find her, tell her I meant her no harm, and tell her that I am sorry. Perez also reported that he had found a small stuffed bunny in the terminal shortly after his encounter with SCP-6792-1. The item was confiscated by Foundation operatives. A single strand of human hair, not belonging to Perez, was found on the item. Addendum III. Supplementary investigations. Following the testimonies given by individuals who had encountered SCP-6792-1, Foundation operatives began a search for information pertaining to the possible history of the entity. A human hair found in the item recovered by Antonio Perez was cross-referenced with Foundation databases and traced to Mary Levy, 33, a former local resident who moved to Austin, Texas in July 1990. Photographs recovered of Levy during her childhood match the descriptions given by Perez and James Sutherland of SCP-6792-1. Levy was interviewed by Foundation operatives on the 6th of December 2013. She confirmed that she had visited the airport on several occasions during her childhood, but stressed that she and her family had moved away decades ago and they were very faint memories. Levy is currently married and has 2 children. When asked about John Pensacola during her interview with Foundation operatives, Levy denied any knowledge of Pensacola or personal relation to him. She requested that the Foundation not contact her or her family again. Thank you for listening to SCP-6792, I Promise I Won't Say I Miss You, by Holly Nightmare. If you enjoyed this SCP, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Also, make sure to follow the link in the description to the SCP Wiki, and vote up the article to support the author and the SCP Wiki as a whole.